Hey, good evening. It's a little after 9:30 here. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey and wanted to join with you to talk more about this week of weather. This is probably one of the more maybe I don't want to say unusual, but things are just a little different with the weather this week than normal. Kind of in the battle of the seasons, we're clashing with air masses and seeing some potential fireworks for the weather with things coming on. Already, the first signs of that had happened last night, and that's repeating tonight with some of that areas of fog out there, having some reports across the area. Tomorrow's going to be warm. In fact, I think tomorrow afternoon could surprise us with how nice of a spring day it is here. Get some sunshine with those temperatures to climb. But of course, we're going to be talking mainly about our next system, which is Wednesday. I have affectionately dubbed that as Wacky Wednesday for us here. That's what I've been calling it. So for Wacky Wednesday, you might be interested to hear more about why that's the case for. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me and see if there's where you're watching from. I always love seeing in the comments where folks are checking in from. And so just let me know that, hey, I'm watching from Gilman, or I'm watching from Brockton. Maybe I'm watching from wherever the case is. Leave the comments for that. In addition, I always do really like to spend some time at the end, and we will answer questions at the end as well. So if you've got questions like that, we'll solicit for those here coming up at the end. Just kind of checking to make sure folks are hearing and things are working. Starting to see some of those chats coming on in. And this forecast is for Sunday night for the next couple of days around here, but I still think this will be valid. The discussion we're having valid as we move on through. And plus, it's like the good old days. I'm back on the weekend. We used to do these weekend updates more periodically, but then I got moved to Monday through Friday, and Seth is on the weekends. And so this is a time for us to talk more than the 3 minutes of time that they let us have in the evening newscast, and answer these questions, be a little bit more in depth. So that's our headlines here, what we're going to be watching. Let's first check out some of the visibility, getting some reports, Pontiac, Watsika, even towards Danville, maybe up in Ford County, of visibility coming down because of fog and mist and drizzle developing. What's happening is we're having a milder and more humid air mass to the south mixing with colder and drier air to the north. And that's what we typically have here. You get fog from that. And so that is the case. Some of you folks who are checking in from Livingston, Ford, Iroquois, maybe Vermilion counties, maybe you're seeing some fog out there or seeing the first signs of it. Thinking this is going to fill back on in, and we'll see fog develop even further to the south here as things move on through. Future Track shows that into the early morning hours here, and I'll back that up just a little bit. Notice here at 8, 9 in the morning, you can kind of see where it shows that best chance for fog is. We start getting the oranges and reds. Visibility becomes more poor. This probably suggesting there's at least going to be some patchy dense fog in places out there. And so that's something that we will watch and keep an eye on here. Let's talk tomorrow. Wow. Tomorrow looks like a really nice day here across central Illinois. Temperatures are going to be climbing pretty quickly in the day. The afternoon will be in the upper 50s to low, even middle 60s out there. And the general thought processes here is in that afternoon period, when we're at the warmest part of the day, we may get some sunshine in here for a few hours. And so a little spring weather coming our way here. 63, my forecast high for Champaign tomorrow. 63 in Mattoon, 64 in Taylorville and in Springfield. We might have a few spots here. Macoupin, Montgomery, Fayette counties, maybe even up into Morgan and Sangamon County. That could be 65, 66, 67. That would not surprise me, especially if that sunshine does come out. So we will eagerly await and see what happens with that. So that's tomorrow. You can see as well here as I move on forth and show you Future Track. Notice tonight, see this light gray that appears? That's Future Track saying, hey, that fog may continue to develop during the overnight hours tonight, and tomorrow morning we may have some of that there. But look at the afternoon. See this little break? 4 o'clock, most of us seeing sunshine. 60s and sunshine, I will take that. And I think a number of you watching probably really enjoyed that as well here as far as we continue to monitor things. But then notice Monday evening, Monday night, cloud cover does fill back on in. We may have some more areas of fog try and develop Monday night into Tuesday morning. Wouldn't surprise me. Tuesday is going to lean back colder. Yes, we get sunshine, but I think highs are in the 40s on Tuesday. Not unusual for this time of year, but not warm like it was on Monday. So Tuesday will feel cold, 20 degrees colder, in fact, compared to what Monday will be around the region. And then we get to Tuesday night, clouds increase. And notice on Wednesday, we may start Wednesday with some freezing rain potential out there and see how things go. So currently, the way we're forecasting things for Wednesday, it all is dependent on the warm front. That's the big thing for us here. What does the warm front do? In the morning, I think some freezing rain is on the table here. We should, by the afternoon, get above 32 degrees and knock that freezing rain back. And then it's just a steady cold rain. If that warm air comes our direction, it's not going to happen till Wednesday night here. And that is dependent on that warm front. And that warm front, if it lifts on through, then could bring some thunderstorms with it here. And so we're going to watch and see how that plays out. Now, to give you an idea of what that warm front is, let me pull up this graphic for you here real fast. If you're on the north side of that warm front, you may sit in the 30s. But then pretty quickly, if that warm front approaches south of it, might be in the 60s here, we could realistically, in Pontiac or Watsika, be 33, 34, 35, and we could be at 60 or 65 down in Effingham. Just in our viewing area, seeing that boundary at some point Wednesday night lift on through. That is not out of the question. Of course, that big question is here, how far north does it lift through? The more north it goes, the more of us that get into that warm air. And when does that happen? We're kind of thinking it's not going to be a daytime. So Wednesday's high may not happen until after 9 p.m. and Thursday's high probably before 6 a.m., before that front comes crashing on through. So Wacky Wednesday, it's backwards. Typically, your highs in the afternoon, your lows in the late night, early morning hours, but not the case for us here. So let's start talking more about those details on Wednesday. First off, freezing rain potential Wednesday morning here. The best chance for that to me is north of I-72 towards Danville in this area. And we may have some slick spots out there. I do think impacts are possible. We got to get above 32, and sometimes it can be a struggle to do that. We'll see how quickly it happens. It may cause some slick spots for the morning commute for some areas here. If the roads are treated at all, they'll be fine. We're not going to be talking about a significant widespread glaze that's causing freezing issues, but think of sidewalks, parking lots, bridges. Some of those more troubled spots may have some issues Wednesday morning based on what I'm seeing here. And we'll have to watch here. Can't rule it out a little further south, but it seems like to me I-72 and north has the best chance at this point for freezing rain. And I'm going to call for low to medium impacts on that as well. The main reason for that is just because untreated and elevated surfaces could get a glaze of ice. There is some good news with this. We're so warm Wednesday, and even if we have some sunshine Thursday, that might help keep our surface temperatures. They've been thawing out a little bit here ahead of time, so that might keep it from being a bigger problem. And the second thing is that the ground is actually thawing out a little bit with this warmth, and so that may allow some of that rain to soak in as well. So we'll just watch here, but there may end up being some impacts Wednesday morning. At this point, I think by Wednesday afternoon, we should be nipping that in the butt and taking care of that here. So that's something that we'll watch. So we've got freezing rain Wednesday morning on the table here. By Wednesday evening into Wednesday night, then we got to watch for thunderstorms. And that probably is more likely towards I-70. But again, you got to watch and see how far north that warm front lifts. Along and south of that warm front is where that better chance for thunderstorm activity will be. At this point, the severe threat looks low to me. We'll watch it, certainly. But it doesn't strike me at this point to being a big problem. But of course, that can change for us as we move on through. So that's something that we're going to be keeping an eye on here. I'm going to walk you through real quick and take you through future track hour by hour. Notice here, we're talking 9 in the morning. See how most of these temperatures are 32 or below? We've got rain coming on in. And that rain then means it'll be freezing rain. I don't think it's going to be sleet. I don't think it's going to be snow. But with those surface temperatures where they are, that freezing rain potential is certainly there in the morning. Here's 1:30 Wednesday afternoon. We're still at 36 in Mattoon. We just hit 40 in Effingham, 33 in Champaign and in Bloomington. A cold rain expected through most of the day here Wednesday once we get those temperatures up. But as we go into the afternoon then, we start to see some changes happening potentially with that warm front. And again, how far north does it lift? Big question. I don't know if we'll know that even until the night before, maybe, exactly what that looks like. But the more it lifts on through, the more those temperatures climb. So 8 p.m., now we're up to 48 in Effingham. We're still in the 30s in Champaign and Danville and Bloomington. Watch what happens. We get to 10:30, 11. Now we're seeing 58 in Taterville, 58 in Springfield, and seeing that warm air sneak on in. Midnight, look at that. 60s appearing in the area. Midnight, 1 in the morning. So that warmest air now is late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, when we traditionally are at the coldest time of the day. And the reason for that is this strong low pressure tries to yank that warm air further to the north. And so we'll see what happens. This is conditional on the warm front doing its job and getting to the north here. So that is something that we're going to watch. But then you notice here, as we go to Thursday, 4 or 5 in the morning, still pretty mild here with rain and potential thunderstorm activity. But then this front will start to crash on through. And as that happens, you can see those temperatures drop pretty quickly. 9 a.m., 30s and 40s. And then those temperatures will continue to drop as we go into the afternoon hours, and we spend most of the day Thursday in the 40s. So Wacky Wednesday, temperatures look a little inverted based on that warm front. If we get warm into the 50s and 60s, that's happening during the overnight hours from what we're seeing now. And most of Wednesday is a cold rain, some freezing rain possible in the morning, but the afternoon certainly is something to watch here for that chance that warm front lifts north and gives us even some thunderstorm activity on the table. One thing I do want to show is I showed this earlier, the high temperature odds. When we look at Wednesday and Thursday here, I think we'll see spots at least get to 50 Wednesday night. There's a chance we get to 60 here. I don't think we get to 70, but we could get some spots 64, 65 in the overnight hours if that warm air lifts to the north. And so that is something we're going to watch here and see how it shakes out. The best chance for that warm front is it makes it to I-70. And then we'll see from there how far to the north it goes for things here. So we're watching Wednesday. This is kind of a breakdown graphic to show more of what it is. Our current forecast is in the middle here. We've got some freezing rain along the north of I-72. By midday, temps warm above 32 degrees. That freezing rain impacts begin to diminish. Potentially the afternoon into Wednesday night, I should say here, that's when that warm front comes through, and we could see some thunderstorm activity. At this point, if there's a threat for strong thunderstorms, it's conditional and low. I don't have anything that is very concerning to me, but we just can't rule it out here at this point. What happens if the warm front doesn't make it? What's it look like then? Well, this is that scenario if the forecast trends colder here. Well, suddenly our AM freezing rain threat Wednesday morning increases, and those impacts now last through the afternoon into Wednesday afternoon. Thunderstorms would be less likely. They probably would be more southern Illinois for us, and that warm air stays to the south. The warm front doesn't make it here, is what would happen if that forecast trends colder. This here, probably a higher impact event for Wednesday morning's freezing rain. To be honest, this here is probably the sweet spot that you want to be at, in the middle, to lessen impacts from both freezing rain and potential strong storms. Because if we go the other direction here, if we trend warmer, still could be some freezing rain in the morning. That might be a little more north and west of our area, but still possible. Still probably have a cold rain. But then if that warm front lifts all the way through and our temperature trend Wednesday night into Thursday morning goes up, now we have thunderstorm activity possible area-wide. And this, to me, is a scenario where, yeah, we definitely would have to watch for the strong storm potential. So we're kind of getting a little of both here on our current forecast. But that may be the best to limit problems from both the freezing rain and from any stronger storm threat that could come on through. So just something to watch, something to keep an eye on. But I think this graphic kind of helps to explain a little bit more like, all right, what happens if this changes? Warm front doesn't make it. Warm front comes through at night. Warm front really comes through at night and brings some problems with it. So it's kind of what we're evaluating for that. I'd be remiss. We've been talking a lot about Wednesday here. This may not be the only system that comes our way. We've got the Wednesday system coming on in here, lifting a lot of warm and humid air in. There's that freezing rain and even snow off to our north. We get that through here, clears out Thursday morning. We'll be colder on Thursday and Friday, but we have another system heading our way into Saturday. And this one's another close line here where we may have to deal with cold rain, wintry mix potential in our area over the weekend. This will be next weekend. So there's another system coming, this active February we've been talking about, panning out as expected. And then as we go beyond that, it looks like maybe my graphic isn't quite working like I hoped it would. But there's a lot of cold air bottled up here that are likeliest to flow into our area here. And so that is something that we'll have to keep an eye on too for next Sunday night. We may be talking about some Arctic air that starts to really intrude on in more than the typical winter cold we should have this time of year. That 8 to 14 day outlook now, February 10th through the 16th, has been hinting at that. You can see that cold air now spreading on through. And so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But it certainly looks like an active pattern is on the way for us here as we head into the month of February here, starting with our system Wednesday. Then Saturday, maybe that one trends a little colder, we'll see. And then more systems are expected beyond that one with that active pattern coming on through. That is my forecast discussion for you here. I wanted to spend a little time go over that. I have a number of you folks on here. Appreciate that. If you have questions, you got to anything like that about the system coming on through, I'm going to take a minute to go through and kind of answer some of those questions you're asking. And if not, then we'll wrap this up. Just a programming note tonight. WCIA 3 News at 10 is delayed due to the Grammys by about a half an hour. We won't be on and scheduled until 10:30. Could be a little bit more, a little bit later than that. Just depends on what's going on, but that's the current plan for that. So I wanted to leave that up just bring that up for you so we could make sure we talked about that there. All right, let's check in real quick, go through the comments. Folks checking in from Central Illinois here. I got Neoga in the house, Robinson, Potomac, Saybrook, Bloomington, Danville. Tammy is asking, are you sure it's not March? I mean, tomorrow, some of you are going to say, man, that feels nice. Get a little hint of spring with that weather coming our way. Nathan's watching. He says he needs to plow more snow. I'm sure there's plow drivers that are certainly thinking that. Be cautious about believing any specific numbers more than a few days out. I put a post on my Facebook page kind of illustrating why. Trusting models that are, folks are sharing weather data on their basement forecast pages that are 14 days out. Well, think of the Illini. When it comes to Illini basketball, you hope they win 3 games from now. There's a lot of time between now and then. The couple of games they still have to play, there could be an injury, there could be a problem, somebody could get the flu, and that could change the outcome of that game 3 games away. And then also you just can't trust the Illini sometimes when those games are close. And even when they got a little bit of a lead, you just kind of still a little bit nervous about that. So if you want to understand more about that, check out my Facebook page for there. That seems about it. Not a whole lot of questions popping in, but Jessica kind of wrap it up here saying all the seasons in one day. Yeah, seems like it, doesn't it? Wacky Wednesday, the day of deception. And the reason being is because when I show you the temperature here real quick, what I've got on, those are our lows. Let's bring the highs in here. What I've got currently sitting in the highs, 63 Monday. Yeah, that's going to happen. Tuesday, that's going to happen. But Wednesday, 54. Most of the daytime is probably in the 30s. That 54 is like 9 p.m. till 4, 5, 6 a.m. And that 41 here, we may still be in the 50s in some spots before 6 a.m. and then see 40s through the rest of the day there. So Mother Nature trying to trick us a little bit, flip things around. Someone's going to look at their basic iPhone weather app and they're going to see, oh my gosh, it's forecast high of 60 and wow, I can wear shorts and a t-shirt, and they will have the rudest of rude awakenings as they walk outside here. And so that's why I keep calling it the day of deception, why I keep calling it the wacky day, Wacky Wednesday, because the nighttime, Wednesday night is the warmest period. Wednesday during the day is a cold rain, maybe some freezing rain to start even. And then if that warm air makes it, it's happening Wednesday night. And then it exits pretty early on Thursday morning here for the area. That looks like it's about it. Nathan's kind of asking about the second half of February. I tend to think we're going to have at least a couple of chances, a couple of systems coming our way, a bit of an active February here. So we will kind of keep that trend in the know here where, I think that once that Arctic surge looks to arrive sometime February 9th through the 14th. How cold that looks, we'll see. But I think once it gets here, it could last for a little while. And let's just say this, the groundhog saw his shadow, and that means 6 more weeks of winter, which I know it says 6 more weeks of winter on the calendar. But when you look at it, that's a prediction of winter to continue as opposed to an earlier spring as far as the weather is concerned. And I tend to think he's got that forecast right. I don't know if we're going to have an early spring this year like we have had some years. And so that colder trend, yeah, we can get some mild days like tomorrow will be certainly, but we may not be done with the cooler winter-like weather even through a good chunk of March based on the way things look. All right, 9:54 here, 9:55. I'm going to sign off. If you have any questions, things like that, my Facebook inbox is always open. Of course, I'll have updates for you on 10:30 on WCIA, and we will catch you guys later, and you'll catch Adam for the